This next case asks, which NFL coach has the greatest challenge in 2007? Is it Norv Turner, picked to coach the San Diego Chargers, a team that went 14-2 in 2006? Turner, in his previous 9 seasons as an NFL head coach, has gone 24 games under 500, making only 1 playoff appearance. Or is it former Louisville helmsman Bobby Petrino, whose 2006 Cardinals had a 12-1 record and won the Orange Bowl? Petrino then flew his comfortable college coupe for the NFL Falcons and $24 million over 5 years, only to wind up vickless in Atlanta. Arguing that Turner is on the bigger burner is 29-year-old David Kaufman. Checking in at 5'10 and 190 pounds, Kaufman, whose nickname is Cough Dog, though he doesn't know why, has been to over 65 college basketball arenas around the country. His sports dream job? He says he's living it as a high school basketball coach. Believing that Coach Petrino faces the greatest challenge is his opponent and longtime preschool friend, Jack Mitrani. A feisty 30-year-old at 5'6 and 161 pounds, Mitrani claims that every jersey he's ever owned was of a player who ended up getting traded or hurt. Ouch. His dream sports job? To be a sports talk radio announcer.
Gentlemen, you each have 1 minute to make your opening remarks. We'll start with you, Mr. Kaufman.
This to me is a no-brainer question. There is one guy in particular, Coach Turner for San Diego Chargers, faced a difficult challenge. Anytime the coach before you gets fired with the best record in the NFL, it's impossible to oversee that. So, Norv Turner presents a lot of challenges this year because he doesn't have a lot to improve on.
Choking a little bit on his argument, not necessarily a good thing. Mr. Mitrani.
Your Honor, the coach that has the biggest challenge this year in the NFL is clearly Bobby Petrino. Mr. Petrino was going to go into a situation where he was going to have the most electrifying player in the NFL, Michael Vick, who was drafted number 1 overall in 2001, supposed to be, the player that the whole team the whole city was going to rally around. And now he's stuck in a situation where he's got a player who's starting for his team, Joey Harrington, who I think ended the season last year for the Dolphins with a 0.0 quarterback rating, if I'm not mistaken.
But if nobody cares if you're going to win any games, what does it matter if you're on the hot seat? Now, the only guy in Atlanta who wants the Falcons to win is Michael Vick, so Petrino doesn't take Brian Braun, first pick in the draft.
I think that my opponent loses sight of the fact the most important position in football is the quarterback position. The Chargers have a quarterback of the future. His name is Phil Rivers. He's a great quarterback. They have the best running back in the NFL. The Falcons have to start all over with a new player that is supposed to personify the whole team, and that's a quarterback position.
It's a difficult challenge. Joey Harrington probably no better than Joey Heatherton would be at the quarterback position.
Joey Heatherton would have been much better, Your Honor.
Anybody that's the Lions or the Dolphins would be aware of that.
Your Honor, and the other issue that surrounds this coach that Norv Turner doesn't have to worry about is all the media pressure, that non-football related issues, the dog fighting and everything else that's going on right now.
No one's even asked Petrino any of these questions. You haven't seen him once on TV.
The city of Atlanta right now is involved.
Is it fair to say, though, Mr. Mitrani, that the Falcons are somewhat flying under the radar? Nobody expects them to do anything. And
he's got the same wages as the Chargers.
Your Honor, this year before the season started, they picked them. So some commentators had predicted that the Falcons were going to go to the Super Bowl.
But their season went up in smoke essentially when Michael Vick was.
It didn't go up in smoke. It went up in a dog bite, Your Honor. But
it did.
That being secondary, Your Honor, they thought that Bobby Petrino, this head coach that's supposed to work with quarterbacks, that's molded quarterbacks, that had Brian Braun, potentially the number 1 overall pick in Louisville, was supposed to come in and fix all the problems.
Now he'll get him in Atlanta.
But how would that be Petrino's problem?
That he was supposed to fix all the problems that Michael Vick had as a quarterback.
But Michael Vick has his own problems. He's going to be playing in the next edition
of
The Longest Yard.
He's going to have some problems with a big man named Bubba. That's absolutely true, Judge. That's without a doubt.
He'll be having plenty of tight ends that he can throw to.
Norv Turner right now is nothing but a puppet figure.
He might be the dog, Your Honor. But the point is, Bobby Petrino was supposed to come in here, supposed to take care of the quarterback position. He was supposed to make the Atlanta Falcons take him to the next level, go to the Super Bowl, and probably win it.
Norv Turner's press conference when he got the job at San Diego says, I don't have to change anything. We have a great team. So what is Norv Turner going to do? All he can do is do worse.
Your Honor, it's clear that every year.
Let me fire another question at you, Mr. Mitroni.
Absolutely, Judge,
is
please.
Norv Turner any better record-wise than Ike Turner would be if he was coaching the team?
Well, at least Ike Turner got back together with Tina, so that's always, I mean, that's
But he was a
good.
tough taskmaster.
Your Honor, absolutely true that Norv Turner does face a difficult challenge, but his challenges are only on the football field, number one. Number two is he's got a year, basically a pass for 1 year. A new regime
Can we
comes in.
fail to recognize, though, that Norv Turner failed in every situation that he's been in so far?
Absolutely, but that was
by any standard of judgment.
that's a decision the general manager should have made when he hired him originally. That's a completely different issue. Norv Turner comes into a situation where he's got a franchise quarterback, he's got a franchise running back. Bobby Petrino doesn't have either one of those things now, and he was supposed to come in with the most electrifying player in all of college football. I mean, in all of
Turner's
the NFL.
under much pressure because right now the general management that hired and fired Schottenheimer, the ownership is all putting tremendous pressure on him.
The coach is going to be granted 1 year of a transition period while he brings his people in. Your Honor.
Let me interject something here. I'm not sure either of you guys have the right guy as you take a look at the overall situation. Norv Turner obviously is under a lot of pressure. He replaces a guy who was 14-2. Bobby Petrino, I'm having trouble with this particular argument only because I don't see what pressure he would be under. He's got basically a free pass like my favorite coach, Paul Free Pasqualoni at Syracuse did for many years, where we'd go 5-7 and still somehow keep the job.
Your Honor, the Bobby Petrino faces issues not only on the football field by losing his star player.
Have you seen him once on a press conference on ESPN or any
Absolutely,
channel
of course,
anything?
absolutely. They're asking him what's going on with Michael Vick. Well, what's the story with Michael Vick? What's the story with Michael Vick? You haven't seen him ask about Michael Jenkins. You haven't seen him ask about Warwick Dunn.
Give me your synopsis, Mr. Kaufman, of
the
what
NFL is
situation
all about pressure. Pressure put on coaches. Coaches have to perform every week. There is no bigger pressure job than a team that went 14-2 and just lost the playoff game with the NFL's best coach the year prior.
Your Honor, if I may please just interject my argument. Bobby Petrino left a proud franchise that he was building up from the ground in Louisville, and he probably has the what would be the number one pick in the draft right now in Brian Brom. He left that to come into an Atlanta situation where he thought he was going to have the most electrifying player in all of college football. He doesn't have that. He's starting all over with a new quarterback. The quarterback position personifies the entire football team. Bobby Petrino's got to start all over again, and he's facing issues not only on the football field
His
but
points
off
are
the football
erroneous
field.
to the entire case.
Your Honor,
Bobby Petrino's under no pressure whatsoever. You couldn't have made a worse choice to argue here when you're looking at Cam Cameron in Miami, a guy who looks bozoic on the sidelines.
No, it's okay.
I don't see where Bobby Petrino's
I understand where the court's coming from.
Bobby Petrino's
they're a little
getting
bit
paid.
off base, but
Bobby
Petrino.
Petrino, you're going to be held in contempt of court if you keep this line of argument. Bobby Petrino is making $5 million a year and he has a complete free pass. Nobody cares about the Atlanta Falcons anymore.
Your Honor, the coach of the Atlanta Falcons is now dealing with issues outside of the football field.
This is a guy that was a carpetbagger. He was ready to leave every situation he's ever been in for the biggest, fattest paycheck.
Your Honor, the Atlanta Falcons are always going to be now known as a dogfighting team. They're not going to be known as a Super Bowl team, and they're not going to be known as a team that's on the rise. They're always going to be associated with dogfighting, and that's always going to present
This
a
is an
challenge.
easy one. Mr. Mitroni, you're very passionate in your argument, but you're dead lame, unfortunately. Bobby Petrino is irrelevant to this discussion. I don't have to be Judge Rehnquist. I could be Judge Judy to decide this one. Mr. Kaufman, you're the winner, and Norv Turner is the guy that's under the most pressure, at least as far as this argument goes. Neither of you mentioned the guy in Oakland there, Lane Kiffin, who's 32 years old, still in diapers, and he has to deal with Al Davis, who's senile. But Mr. Kaufman, almost by default, you win this particular case.
I'll take it any way I can get it.
Your Honor,
Thank you very much. You're welcome to leave the courtroom, Mr. Mitroni, and
Your
try
Honor,
your
I'm
luck.
appealing this decision.
Try your luck as a cheesy sports talk host.
To the highest state of the land.
You can appeal to just about anybody. You're still going to be a loser, my friend.
Just like in life, there's no difference. No difference.
Case closed.
Jack Mitroni here, the loser today in this case, but boy, you sure presented a passionate argument.
I'm the loser according to the judge, but I feel like I'm a winner in everyone's hearts. We all know that clearly Bobby Petrino is going to have a harder challenge ahead of him in the NFL than Norv Turner. The judge didn't see it that way. I will probably appeal like I told him. I think the judge was out of order, but at the end of the day, it's the judge that controls. He's the one that rules, and he ruled against me. But this is not the end of the story.
Absolutely not. That will come at the end of the season. Standing here with the winner, Dave Kaufman. How do you feel after that victory?
I feel like I always do a champion. Thank you very much.
Boy, you sure got interrupted a lot, and yet you managed to make a winning point.
Well, my opponent is a talker, likes to talk a lot, give on a speech, but he's not giving any points, just blowing a lot of steam out there. I knew I was right. I didn't need the judge to tell me I was right. But I'm waiting for his appeal to do it again.
And that's how it goes on Courtroom Sports. And now for a Courtroom Sports update. Since the recording of this case, Coach Bobby Petrino has fled the Falcons for Arkansas. Perhaps the pressure was too much after all.